The ice isn't always thick enough to hold a truck, but the conditions have been good on Higgins Lake. Ice is about a foot thick, plenty safe. Bernie Hines from Houghton Lake is our guide, and the tip-up he's setting is one he invented, a big spool you use like a reel that sits down in the water, light tackle, fishing 100 feet deep. That's where the Higgins Lake lake trout, splake, and brown trout lurk. Bernie Hines teaches a seminar on the ice at the end of February with Redmond's Bait Shop, but today he's giving us a sneak preview. So join me, Fred Trost, as we all learn trout fishing through the ice, because it's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties, we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in this state of Michigan.
You know, for walleye and pike, some people use wire leaders, a big treble hook.
Right. I use this is a number 12 hook, extremely sharp.
Let's see that. That's a
MEPS treble hook.
And that's all you need for the big lake trout.
Oh yeah, we've landed them well over 20 pounds with that little hook.
No leader.
No leader. No.
Now, what do we have?
Here we have two split shot. We have a swivel in the line. That's to keep your line from twisting up. Because when you're reeling you bring your bait up, the minnow spinning around, it'll twist a line, and pretty soon you've got runners out where you just don't. Your line is no good.
Okay, well, let's rig up a smelt here.
Okay, we'll
get one out of the bucket. You like a good big smelt, or?
Yeah, that discourages the smaller ones from feeding too. We don't want to catch any small fish today. We want all big ones. So we'll get a nice size smelt out of here.
Is this a Higgins Lake smelt?
This is a Higgins Lake smelt. He slept in Houghton Lake all night, or Higgins Lake all night last night, and he's gonna go down here and see if we can catch one of the big lake trout with him.
Now, most of the shanties that are out here along the shelf, they're fishing for smelt?
90% of them are. Some are fishing for whitefish. Some are even fishing for perch. Fish perch in the daytime. It's pretty good perch fishing down here.
There he goes. Seems to be drifting down now.
Yeah. And I'll give him as much line as I can right here to speed him down there.
Now, give me a demonstration here. When a flag trips, you can tell it's called a trag flips. When a flag trips, do you have to set the hook? Do you have to yank it like you would?
No. We let him go, give him a chance to swallow the bait. We have anywhere from 300 to 500 feet of line on these reels. And you just give them the time to swallow the hook. And then the hooks are so sharp that you do not set the hook. And they're a fine wire hook. So if you jerk them, you can straighten the hook out or tear it right loose from the fish. So the best way is just to reel them in. Now I'm fishing 5 turns off the bottom.
Now, you drug us out here before daylight when it was dark. But normally you spend that early morning time getting your tip up set, but you say you don't have to get out here early for them to be hitting.
Now last week we come out here at the same hour we did this morning, and within a half hour, by 8:30, we had trout laying on the ice. We had 3 or 4 trout laying on the ice. So really the feed for lake trout, I prefer the early morning hours, say from 7:30 to about 9:30.
But do they hit all day?
Spotty, on and off. Trout are funny. They'll be feeding heavy for an hour, maybe in the morning, and then you have a flat spot, and then maybe in the afternoon. So you just never know.
We have a flag?
Looks that way.
Where?
Straight out that way.
Straight out?
That flag's up there.
Is it? Yeah. Well, we're in business. Now, that would be great to have a school moving through here.
Right. Now, this tip up here we placed on the edge of the drop-off. This is a sunken island now here, and this is where the depth increases here to probably 100 feet here.
Well, let's see this technique. This will be my first. I haven't fished trout like this on tip-ups before. Talked about it for years.
Well, right now he's got all the line out,
Uh-oh.
and we've got a fish on there.
All right. How much line? You say 300 feet?
We have at least 300 feet of line on this. I run anywhere from 300 to 500 feet of line on a tip-up.
Great. Well, we have a crowd here for this one.
Well, that's the first one, and I would almost bet that is a keeper.
Almost bet.
Well, I'm not a betting man.
Now, we want to see your finger after you're done reeling in
Okay.
300 feet of line.
It'll be a little cold, but you've got to suffer a few discomforts to catch the fish.
Now, what are you feeling right now?
I feel right now it's like about a 6, maybe 7 pound trout.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Is he pulling?
He is pulling, but as long as I can gain line on him, I'll get as much as I can in.
Yeah.
You feel him?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, take up
Okay. Now you want to be careful when you're reeling them in, fighting with the reel, that you don't wind the line in back of the tip up here.
Mm-hmm.
And you see my fingers here on to keep a drag on the reel in case he wants to take line. That way the reel won't spin free and tangle up the line.
Oh, you haven't come to the matchstick
No,
yet.
when we come to the matchstick, we'll still have probably 100 feet to go. This is what, like I say, we're probably in 100 feet of water here. This is the edge of the drop-off.
Now, Terry, come on over here. Terry has the gaff. Do you always bring a keeper out of the hole with the gaff?
No. If it's a small one, I just grab him by the hand. Once you start a fish up the hole, fish can't swim backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Once his head starts coming up, you got him.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go anywhere. He's tiring a little bit. He's coming in. He's a keeper, but I don't think he'll go more than 4 pounds.
Okay, now we lost 2 or 3 pounds
Yeah,
here
well-
in the past minute.
You always shoot for the biggest, you know.
The big one. So if you were a betting man,
If I was a betting man now, I would say it would go 4 pounds.
well, that'll be interesting.
But it's still a good fish. The smaller the fish, the better eaten. I prefer.
Looks like he's swinging over to this side
Yeah,
of the
he's
hole.
swimming all around now.
Yep.
He starts coming in.
Oh, here he is. I see him right. Now you play him very gingerly. Oh, a nice
no, no.
laker.
Okay. Now here's what I do. I don't gaff these. I don't gaff a little one like this. I would rather, like I say, they can't swim backwards.
All right. Great. A Higgins Lake trout. Bernie,
There is
you proved it.
a fine eating fish right there.
I guess so.
Nothing better.
Bernie Hines proved he's a master at catching trout in Higgins Lake and teaching us how. Now, when that next flag pops up, oh, there's one now. That one's yours. Give it a try. We have a great recipe for Higgins Lake trout or salmon sent to us by Vicki Blaisdell from Midland. It's called salmon or trout steaks in cucumber sauce. Kathy Beitler is going to start by boiling water in a frying pan, which she's going to poach the fish in. A simple poaching broth made by adding lemon juice and a little salt. Salmon and trout are both oily fish, and they're particularly good boiled or poached because the oils and fats come out, leaving a moist meat, but not oily. In poaching, you don't have to cover the fish with water, but it's okay if you do. The salt, by the way, isn't necessary if you're on a low-salt diet. Now, while this is poaching, you can prepare the cucumber sauce, which is a combination of sour cream, chopped or dried parsley, and finely chopped onion, dash of lemon juice, and salt and pepper. And grated, not sliced, cucumber. Dump a cup of sour cream into the grated cucumber, 2 teaspoons of minced parsley and a half teaspoon of grated onion, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a little salt and pepper. Mix it up and refrigerate it along with the boiled fish. Now, when they're both cold, the fish becomes very firm, and the sauce is like that sliced cucumber you have in sour cream in the summertime. Very tasty. The boiled fish is extremely mild. Anybody would like it. Now, the question is, will Bob Garner like the fish or the sauce? Or both?
I think both.
Is he gonna like the cucumbers?
See,
Yes.
all of the above. No, it's really good. It's kind of like herring without being all that fishy like herring is. It's like either a pickled herring or a herring and cream sauce, which has always been one of my favorites anyway. But this is, undoubtedly a lot more lighter in texture and more flavorful, not the heavy fish.
Yeah, that salmon is so mild.
Oh, it is. And the sauce really makes this recipe. Vicky did a good job.
The sauce, I mean, the salmon is great, but the sauce is the star.
Yes,
if
it
you like
is.
cucumbers with onions, that's basically what this is.
And just a little bit of parsley in it, and it's great.
But it's terrific. Vicky Blaisdell has a great new twist on boiled salmon or trout with a cucumber sauce. We loved it, and you can get the recipe free from the Outdoor Digest. Address coming up at the end of the show.
What is a tiger trout and why is it of interest to anglers? A tiger trout is a cross between a female brown trout and a male brook trout. It has tiger-like markings on its side and is more aggressive than either parent and easier to catch. A surface feeder, it's an ideal put-take trout because it has a high return to the creel.
Here's a fish that's a scrappy fighter. Pat Funch from Mount Morris caught this 16.5-inch white bass at the Hot Pond in Saginaw Bay. At 2 pounds, 5 ounces, it's a trophy. And anytime you get a 2-pound perch, you have a lunker. Bob Chinek from Essexville caught one on a minnow in Saginaw Bay by buoy 19, fishing a minnow, of course. And check out this big buck. 10 points, 21.5-inch spread. The longest tine is 11 inches. 18-year-old Trevor Mills from Olivet took it in Eaton County opening morning. Lots of venison from this 250-pounder. Now, the fellow standing by this big fish didn't catch it, just a buddy of the lucky angler who caught the largest fish in 1986. He told us about it at our STROH'S Fishing Awards banquet last year.
Here is the biggest fish spearing Black Lake, Sheboygan County. A lake sturgeon that weighed 123 pounds, 12 ounces, 76 inches long, Craig Thams from Chelsea. What's it like to spear one this size?
It's really something. I guess the big highlights behind the story is when it came through the hole, only its head came through the hole.
That's why you had it mounted this way.
That's right. So anyways, I threw the spear down, and I only hit him with one tine on the spear, and lucky it was enough to, he didn't get away.
How did you pull him through the hole?
Well, I had another man that came from the other ice shanty. It was a backup spear. He threw another spear in it because might get away with just one tine. We brought him up and gaff hooked him and just grabbed him by the gills and pulled him in the ice shanty.
Now, this guy in the other shanty, how did he know that you needed help?
I was yelling.
I bet you were.
Yeah, I was.
Have you speared other sturgeon before?
That was the first time I went fishing for sturgeon.
Man, what a story. 123 pounds, 12 ounces, 76 inches long, Craig Thams from Chelsea. Sounds to me like you are the Big Master Angler of the Year. Congratulations.
The Upper Peninsula moose herd is doing much better than expected despite some recent losses. The DNR estimates there are 101 animals left. Biologists say a major reason for the excellent success in Michigan is the lack of predation on moose calves by black bears. The Natural Resources Commission is expected to shut down the commercial netting of perch in Saginaw Bay at their next meeting. A total ban would go into effect in January of 1991. And thanks to the DNR and the Michigan Wildlife Habitat Foundation, the turkey plant is completed at the Gratiot-Saginaw game area. The 17 hens and 7 gobblers were acquired from Iowa by the Habitat Foundation. And speaking of the foundation, Natural Resources Commissioner and Outdoors Forever board member Tom Anderson has been elected chairman of the Michigan Wildlife Habitat Foundation. DNR waterfowl biologist Jerry Martz says the special goose season report is spotty at best. Many birds temporarily went south of the Michigan border during a cold snap that happened just before the season opened. Michigan hunters and anglers must have had a bang-up year in 1987. Now, according to Diane Lawrence, Fred Trost Outdoors Club manager, there were over 2,000 STROH'S Hunting and Fishing Award applications for the year, and that's up 25% from 1986.
We get quite a few letters from frustrated anglers, like this one from Terry Jefferson from Ann Arbor, who writes, "What lures or techniques do you suggest for enticing reticent bluegills which are sitting on beds?" Well, Terry, fish strike either from hunger or from aggravation. Now, if a fish is hungry but won't strike, try using lighter line or smaller bait so it'll drift in more naturally. An aggravated bluegill will attack a lure and blow it out its mouth rather than taking it in. Now, you're going to have to be fast to hook those. If they won't strike at all, well, work some other beds and then come back in a few hours. Things will change.
Hold on to your britches. We have an action-packed weekend coming up. The annual Winter Carnival at Skidway Lake just east of West Branch will be held all weekend, and so will the Lewiston Winter Carnival southeast of Gaylord Friday through Sunday. On the west side, guess who sponsors the Yamafest Snowfari at Whitehall? Snowmobiling all weekend for the entire family. East Tawas will be bustling this weekend with Perchville, USA, headquartered at the State Dock on Frozen Lake Huron. The Oldsmobile Outdoor Club holds its family days on the ice at Houghton Lake this Saturday and Sunday. It's a low-key family version of Tip-Up Town. Pick up the pace in Sault Ste. Marie with the I-500 snowmobile race on Saturday. East of Saginaw, you'll find fishing and boating seminars at the Great Lakes Outdoor Day in Mayville on Sunday. Also, the Detroit Boat and Fishing Show opens Saturday at Cobo Hall, running through the 14th. And on Wednesday, the Camper and RV Show opens in Flint through the following weekend. And Friday is when we'll be at the Lansing Expo Center for 3 days of seminars, along with the Michigan Charter Boat Association at the Central Michigan Sports Show. We'll have program details next week. Invitations have been mailed out to the STROH'S Hunting and Fishing Awards winners, who will be honored at our Hunting Awards banquet on Saturday the 20th at the Lansing Civic Center, and Friday the 26th in Midland for our Fishing Awards banquet. It's at these banquets that we tape the interviews for our TV trophy books. Give us a call for ticket information. And if you missed a number for more information on any of these events, you can get it from the Michigan Travel Bureau toll-free on Friday at 1-800-5432-YES.
Outdoors Forever is a program we started here on Michigan Outdoors a year and a half ago, dedicated to making the outdoors safer, more available, and to extending everybody's abilities outdoors so you can hunt and fish longer than you thought you could. Roger McCarville is the executive director of this program, and here's a question he could use your help with.
One of the things that really, we get every weekend here that really makes it worthwhile is some of the letters that people send in. And I have one here that Gary Manuzek sent in. And he said he watched Michigan Outdoors for 3 years since he's moved here, and he's watched the Outdoors Forever part grow. But what he never thought he'd ever need is, but here he has a problem with his father-in-law. He's 82 years old, doesn't want to give up his hunting and fishing. He can go out salmon fishing in the boats, but when it comes to doing his brook trout, he can't get down to the streams. He used to go to Claybank Creek. It's too hard for him to get on there. And Gary would like us to find out from our viewers, any of the folks that get out and do the trout fishing, do you know where there's a stream where he can get out there, park close, get into the stream, and get some more trout? He said he's 82 years young and would like to get back out. He doesn't want to give up the outdoors. And I think that's what our Outdoors Forever, the viewers that can write into us and tell us where we can send this guy, we can solve another problem.
Alan Street has hunted and fished all his life until an accident on the job put him in a wheelchair for 6 months. Now he uses crutches and he's back outdoors. But for all the difficulties he's had with crutches in the snow, his biggest problem comes about when he's sitting still. What are the problems you have? Is it mainly dangerous? Could you hurt yourself worse if you fell, or what?
I can't feel cold. I can't feel the heat. So if I'm out here on the ice, I've got to learn to. I feel the cold on my right foot, then I've got to get my left foot warmed up. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I can get frostbite pretty easy on it. Other than that, though, slipping around and the coldness is what I've really got to worry about right now.
Yeah, most people would think it would be the worry of slipping and falling.
Yeah, no, it's cold too. I can sit out here for a couple hours and my left leg can get real cold and I don't even know it. So I've got to watch. I've got to learn, like, if my right leg gets cold, I know my left leg is cold or colder because I don't have the circulation in the leg.
For people with disabilities like Alan's, as long as they can stay warm, they can enjoy hunting and fishing. Circulation and warmth. Major problems for a lot of us outdoors, and ones we're always looking for ways to solve. Catherine Mulhaupt is the creative director of Outdoors Forever and the editor of the Outdoor Digest. She's always coming up with ideas and products that maybe originated with handicappers but have applications to all kinds of sportsmen and outdoor activities.
We've got some odd-looking knives here, and the reason they're odd is because they're designed for somebody who perhaps doesn't have full use of both hands or can only use one hand, and they're really handy for anybody. This little knife here, if you look closely, you'll see that the blade is sticking out and looks almost like the point's been broken off. And what that's there for is if you only have use of one hand, you can set it on the edge of a table or a book or your counter and just open it with the one hand and close it the same way.
A knife for people with one hand. I bet there's nobody who couldn't have used one at one time or another. Dan Selahowski is a board member of Outdoors Forever, and his occupation is physical therapy. He works with a lot of injuries, young people hurt on the job or injured in sports. What is the attitude of people who have these kind of injuries and problems? Are they really willing and in a big yank to get back in the swing of things?
Just the opposite. They're afraid. First of all, obviously the main emphasis would be to get back their activities of daily living. Just a simple thing like be able to wash themselves again or just function around a house. After a while, that they've learned to handle that. They want to get out and do things like they used to. But if we weren't here today, I doubt if any of these guys would have tried to wheel their wheelchair out a quarter mile. They won't try it, but groups like this are going to give them a hand and tell them, yeah, we'll give you a hand, and there's a way to do it. Try this way or that way. So all you need to light is a little bit of fire under them, and they have the security of being with someone that first couple times, then they're hooked. No pun intended.
Yeah. Getting hooked on fishing is easy to do, and if you've had an injury or gotten away from hunting or fishing for some reason, cheer up. We're finding ways to overcome these physical disabilities. That's what Outdoors Forever is all about. For more information, make sure you get the Outdoors Forever magazine, a free copy available inside the Outdoor Digest. Here's how you can get one.
More information about the subjects you see on Michigan Outdoors is contained in our Outdoor Digest magazine. A page for each week's program has the mailbag and quiz, plus the featured fish or wild game recipe of the week, and they're always delicious. Articles on ice fishing for trout, deer habits in winter, virtues of the .22 rifle, and ideas for fishing boats are in the current issue. The 16-page Outdoors Forever supplement is full of information on overcoming physical disabilities and staying healthy outdoors. You'll find an entry form for the STROH'S Hunting and Fishing Awards, information on our upcoming events, and a lot more. If you're not already an Outdoors Club member and don't receive the digest, we'll send you this January-February issue free of charge, along with information on how to subscribe. Just write to us at Fred Trost Outdoors Club, P.O. Box 1775, East Lansing, Michigan, 48826 1775.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
Next week on Michigan Outdoors, we're going to try something different, a winter goose hunt with bow hunters Ron LeClaire and Norm Blaker. With a little luck, they'll bag the geese for our Swiss goose recipe. Otherwise, it's geese from the freezer. Join us, see how we do.
Sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.
Michigan Outdoors is a production of Fred Trost Outdoors Club and Outdoors Forever, with grants from the STROH Brewery Company, makers of STROH'S and STROH Light,